We have the beets that I found, which are gorgeous. These are, I think they're chayogas. They're a kind of a, we can see when we cut them open what they are. If they're chayogas, are they? Yes. They have a bullseye pattern. It's a very mild beet. It's actually very good raw as well as cooked. And these are gold beets, which are actually my favorite flavor-wise, and also they don't stain your hands as much, which is kind of neat. So, to start, we're gonna pretend that I found these yesterday when I was looking for them. Everything about a beet is edible, and it's all good for you, and it's wonderfully nutritious all the way through. I cook my beets in a kind of a strange way. I'm not sure where I picked it up. I may have made it up. It works for me. And that is, I take off, this brown stuff, you can just get rid of that, compost it. I leave everything on the beet intact when I cook it. I don't cut off the stem, and I cut the root, and I cut off the stem with about a little less than an inch of stem remaining. And then I would take all these beets, once they're all cut like that, submerge them in cold water and bring it to a boil. And then depending on the size of the beet, they're gonna cook for maybe between 15 minutes and a half an hour. Beets are very dense, but different beets have different densities. So the chayoga and the yellow are completely different. They come out like that, and at this stage, you can slip the peels right off of them. And then I'm gonna cut them into little cubes, like so. I like to take traditional herb combinations and change them a little bit. And because I'm a locavore, I never use citrus. So I grow in my garden this wonderful herb called lemon verbena. And you're going to have to grow it because nobody sells it, but it's easy to grow. And if you don't want to grow it, you can call me and I'll give you some. And the Stillman farm sells starts, and they have them still. So if you want to grow it, it's not too late. So this is, it's kind of an underused herb here, but it's really popular in France, where they drink it as a tea. So rough chop. This is really delicate cilantro and lemon verbena. And in the recipe I said mint. You can use mint if you want. It's nice with the cilantro and the lemon verbena. And then I'm going to dress this really simply. This is a little bit of cider vinegar, apple cider vinegar. And this is local sunflower oil from Vermont, which is what we use in our kitchen, the Cuisine en Locale kitchen, instead of olive oil. And a little bit of salt. Oh, Maine salt, you are so hard to grind. There we go. So that's part one. This part now of the greens, you do want to pull out. Sometimes beets are kind of yucky. You just want to make sure that you don't have anything yucky in there, any muddy, yucky leaves. But you take, this is something that you would do also with like kale or chard, or any time that you're taking the green off the stem. You can just cut down both sides of the leaf with a sharp knife, and it'll sort of pull right off. With beets, you don't really need to take out that center part very far down. This is more of like a kale collard thing, but again, it's always fun to show you the knife skills, right? So we're gonna cut the leaves from the stems. And these stems now, we're going to cut these into a really fine chop, about maybe 1/4 of an inch. Not that fine. What am I saying? Like a rough chop. About 1/4 of an inch. A little bit of oil. Ooh, nice hot pan. Ooh, very hot pan. And get the stems in there. At this time, you could throw in garlic or garlic scapes, which I did this morning. So the one that I have that I brought you that I'm now going to mix in with this one actually does have some garlic scapes in it. You want to saute these for maybe, this is a very hot burner, this is an induction burner, but if you don't have a super hot stove, you're going to want to saute them for about 3 to 5 minutes, just until they start to get past crunchy. But they don't have to be super soft. They're, you know, you could eat them raw. Look at how much red we're getting out of these stems. They're so different, the yellow and the red. The next part of this dish is you're going to take the leaves that you cut off the beets. And the reason you want to get those stems out is because you need to lay them flat. This is a technique called chiffonade. It's a very, very, very simple way to cut greens. You lay them flat on top of each other, and then you roll them into a little, like a hand roll, kind of, and cut them lengthwise into strips. Cool, right? How easy was that? And I tucked the fingers back and everything. All right. So I'm going to throw these in here and see if we can get through this last little step. It's such a tiny little step. So, same pan, again, as you just did the stems in, because you can get all that flavor that you put in there that's still in the pan. There's no reason to get rid of that. So, leaves. These leaves are going to saute the same way that spinach sautés. They're going to wilt down and kind of get mushy. While that's heating, this is honey that a friend of mine gave me from her bees. Isn't that neat? I love that I have friends who have bees. Bees are good pets. So this is just, again, a little bit of cider vinegar. I always smell everything because I'm like, okay, just making sure it's not oil. Okay, yes, vinegar. About a tablespoon of cider vinegar and a tablespoon of honey. And then mix it up. And you're kind of going to like deglaze the pan with it if the pan was hot. It would be sort of deglazing the pan with it. So you kind of saute it in a little bit. And this is what makes it fun, I think. So you do the greens. Beets, shoots, and leaves.